What's going on? Time for an update. I want to take you through this trade that I've taken today, how the trade went, my thought process behind it, but more importantly, how I've been able to, as of this week, really just kind of refresh my mentality, my psychology around my trading, and really what the plan is moving forward. Now, I won't go into too much depth because you can watch it in my prior last couple of videos, but basically, I had just come out of a pretty big rut in my trading, and I documented on my YouTube just to bring you along with me. But from there, what I'd noticed was I had a few issues with my psychology, and that's what I began working on. And more predominantly, I began journaling a lot of it, and that really helped. Now, I talk about that in my last video, so I won't talk about it here. But really, what I've been doing from this week is being extremely patient with my setups, but also really confident. So I'm going to talk about this trade that I've taken here, my thought process behind it, what happened to it, and how the trade ended up playing out. As you can see here, I'll explain this. Now this trade was taken on gold. Okay, now you can see that this is a fresh new eval account. So I basically just started this account. This is basically the first actual trade taken on it, and I'll just show you. Okay, for my performance stats here. So today, 220 bucks, right? And funnily enough, this trade, if it played out, like we almost got to my target here. I'll talk about this in a second, but if it played out, I would have been up at about 1,300 bucks, right? And that would have been pretty much the first half of the eval done. It fit my plan. This trade fit my plan and everything. I'll run through it and I'll run through what I ended up doing and how I managed the trade. Okay, because this is really important. So when it comes to when it came to this trade here, my thought process behind this, if we go on the hourly, so this was gold. Now, if you've been trading gold recently, you've been up to date with gold, you will see that we had a extremely big dump yesterday, right? We had extremely huge pullback because we had been going up and up and up, and as with the news and everything, the wars and everything going on, we obviously had a big pullback yesterday. Okay, so today's 4th of March. Yesterday we had an extremely huge pullback. Obviously, I didn't take any trades on this account. I was more so watching it yesterday, and the way that I marked it out was today. I went in the morning, and when I marked out when I did my analysis, obviously we came down to this low. This didn't close below, so I like to put an X here for it, to say that it didn't close below. And we had pretty much been bullish. Okay, so market opens for me. Asia opening is at 9 a.m. Okay, in Australia, and this was at about 1 last night. So we rejected off here, and we had been bullish ever since. And we were putting in on the lower time frame before this trade. We were putting in higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. Okay, we had a bit of a pullback, put in another higher high, right? So when we came to this level, this plays into my system perfectly, right? So I was bullish for today on this trade, and I don't really like to use this term, but I had a bullish bias, right? So that was my bias going to this trade. And the way I like to trade is very similar to, say, sort of support and resistance. And we had this break of structure, which is a BOS here. So we had this pull up here, break of structure here. Okay, so that was the break of structure. It broke above, created a new high. And then this low here was where the structure had broken. Okay, so this was the support level that I was targeting. Now, I executed this on the 1 minute. And my idea of this trade was that as soon as it started to pull up, so it tapped into this into this support, and I put on the trade. I think I traded I think it was 3 micros for gold. Yeah, 3 micros for gold. So I was risking I think, about 200 to 230 on this trade. The reward of this trade, obviously, I don't try to focus on the numbers, but it would have been about 1,300 bucks US, right? If it hit my target, which was this high, which I considered a weak high. Now, the trade was actually going quite well. It was moving up pretty chill. I actually thought that it was going to break above this, but I marked it out. So as we rejected off here, I knew we had this level of resistance here, right? And I thought, look, it could actually potentially come back down to this resistance here because we had another break of structure, and it could then continue up. So price sort of bounced off here, went up. I actually got off the charts and I just set a timer for me to come back and look at the charts. When I came back, it was floating around here, and I said to myself, look, I didn't want to just set a break even just because, but I thought, look, if it pushes up and it fails to push up past this level and we continue to on the lower time frame, now we've failed to put in a new high here. And if we continue putting in, lower highs and lower lows, then if this breaks below here, I will close the position out. Up around here, I was up at around 800 to 850 US. And you're probably sitting there thinking, well, why didn't you close? And it is a possibility that I could have closed, but my bias was that we would push up into the week high because we were bullish. Because up until this point, as you can see here, like throughout the entire day, we were bullish, right? Like we were continuing up and up and up. And as well, to add to another confluence of this, I was saying in my, like basically my idea, if I reset these charts, my idea was that we would at least push up to this high, right? And this could have been the level of resistance that I could have used as another confluence. So price could have come up to here. It could have well been a possibility to come up to here, right? Yes, we were bearish yesterday, but I'm looking at the most recent price action and we're bullish. Okay, so that was why I didn't close out here. Okay, I could have, right? Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but I wanted to stick to my bias. I didn't want to close out early just for fear of losing money. It wasn't until it came down to this point here where I said, okay, it's actually gone below this point of support, so I'll just close it here. So I ended up about 220 bucks in profit, which is still fine, right? I didn't lose any money and I didn't even break even. I actually made a tiny bit of profit, right? So it ended up being a 0.8 RR instead of a 5.5 risk to reward, which would have been huge, but that's just the way it plays out. So what price is doing now is it is actually flipped now. So I've set this level of support and I will be more than likely looking for sells on the lower time frame if I get a good entry. Okay, but the difference of this trade, which is really important to me and why I wanted to show it, was that I was confident going into this trade because I waited. Okay, if this was me in the past, I would have probably tried to get an entry in here. I would have tried to get an entry in here. I would have tried maybe in here somewhere. All these little support levels that don't really matter. And I said to myself on the 5 minute time frame, this is where the actual break of structure is. This is where the actual support level is. Let's enter in from here. So I waited and I was just chill until something high probability showed up. I said, we're bullish. We have a target that we're heading towards. This is a high probability trade for me. And I feel like 8 or 9 times out of 10, conditions would usually play out and it would hit this target, right? So I was happy to take it. Okay. And I didn't micromanage the trade. I trusted in my setup. And really, something that obviously is good to know with this is that we basically didn't have any time in drawdown on this trade. It was just basically up and in profit ever since, right? So a couple of lessons I've learned, especially the past few weeks or past month, February, I've got a video on this as well. February was probably the worst trading month for me. And I think from what I'd seen for a lot of other people as well, conditions weren't the best, but I learned a lot about myself and my trading. And really from here where we're taking it is I am obviously going to continue following my plan and continue refining, continue to log my trades to journal, and really just be patient and not force anything. And if I can come into the markets with this kind of mindset where I'm not trying to force trades, where if price is running down like this, I'm okay with it because the entries don't fit my plan, right? This trade here, I've taken countless amounts of trades like this that have worked out, okay, and that have gone and run to my target. And I've seen this play out so many times, right? And it's like one saying, I can't remember who said it, but someone said in the trading space, try and take the next 10 trades, just the next 10 trades, make sure that they're exactly the same trade 10 times in a row. And you'll really figure out, okay, if you're sticking to your plan, more than likely it's going to be a high success rate, right? A high win rate. The problem is, and I was having this problem as well, I was taking trades that didn't look the same. I would take a trade like this, and then I would take a trade selling that didn't look the same as normal shorts that I would usually use, that I would usually take, and it was just me trying to force and find entries. Where here I'm thinking, okay, look, if we're on the 1 minute here and I want to execute on the 1 minute, this is a level of support. Okay, we created a new low, we created a lower low and then a lower high. We haven't broken this low, but we are bearish now, right? And we're more than likely going to head to this low. Okay, so what do? I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to try and get in here. I'm not going to try and get in at a random point. I'm just going to wait. And I probably more than likely am not even going to take a short here because it doesn't look high probability to me, right? This is on gold as well. You know, I also trade NASDAQ, so I can even look, and this is something you can take into account as well. Okay, I didn't take this trade. This was just a forward test for me. But I'm just looking at trades like this going, hey, this is a support level. This is high probability for me. And we're just creating lower highs and lower lows, right? So where would we go from here? We just wait and see where the next resistance level will be and see if it makes sense to take a short. I'm not going to force anything. So it's really helped me, and it's already showing with this new account, right? And really for me, the reason why I have this new account is I knew that I needed just a complete refresh, right? I knew I needed a complete refresh to really just reset my mind and take this account and just make it clean. Follow my rules. And I know everyone says this. Everyone on YouTube says follow your rules, follow your plan, right? But it's obviously a work in progress for any trader. And you've obviously everyone's got different different issues when it comes to psychology. Everyone's got different things they need to work on. And I'm finding out a lot about myself when it comes to the charts and trading, right? And if you didn't know, obviously I talk about it in all my videos. I'm maybe like 4 months into my journey, maybe coming up to 5 months now. So I'm still very new to it. But to have this level of clarity and just to have this level of understanding of not just the charts, but myself, I feel very lucky. So I'm going to continue to update you guys on this journey. But obviously, with this 50K combine, it's a zero fee setup account. So once I pass it, I get the 3,000 in profit on this account. Obviously, have a funded account again, and really like high probability stuff, right? It's really not. There's not much difference between this trade that I did here being $220 and this high probability playing out and actually going up to my take profit and having it be a $1,300 trade. I would have been halfway to passing the combine, right? So it's really important to just stick to what you know. One thing that I've never done is strategy hopped, right? And I feel very proud of myself for that. And it's also just in my nature as well. I don't jump around to different things. I stick things out. I don't give up, right? That's I'd say that's the plus side to my psychology and mentality. I've been like that with everything. I see things through, and I have a lot of patience, right? Patience on the charts is different, obviously, but I just want to show you this trade, update you guys on what's been going on. But really, we've really bounced back, right? And we've really fixed up a lot on us and our psychology. And if we continue on this path, it will really show on our P&L, and it will show obviously in our progress when it comes to trading. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe. Talk soon.